So I can't predict the future, or maybe I can. No, I really can't. But I can share with you the cause-effect relationships that determine the future, especially when it comes to housing and prices. Remember back to Economics 101. What dictates price? It's actually supply and demand. It's just two things. And it's where they intersect on the graph. It determines number of units sold and it determines price. So to understand the pricing in the housing market, we need to do the same thing, look at supply and demand. Let's start with supply. There's actually a really cool tool for this. I'm gonna link it in the description below. But what it is, it tracks how many houses are actively for sale on the market at any given time. Now you can see in pre-corona times, 2019, we're at about 1.2 million houses for sale nationwide. And then you can see it bottomed in February of 2020 at about 347,000 houses for sale. So if you remember people talking about inventory shortages and how bad it is and how nothing is for sale, now you can kind of visualize how bad it was. It was, 1/4 of what it used to be. Now you can see that it has been rebounding, but it's still nowhere near where it needs to be. And you can also see that it's flattening, where it's not really continuing to grow and to increase in supply. It's kind of stuck at where it's at. So if you think of how much the population has grown and how many more people are demanding houses versus the supply, when there's 1.2 million before and only 600,000 or so now, you can start to realize why there's such a shortage and why there will continue to be such a shortage. That's one of the predictions I have is into the coming year, 2023, there's still going to be an inventory shortage. When people pay for a house, what do they really pay for? Do they really show up with 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 at the closing table? The answer is no. They actually do what's called a mortgage. They take a mortgage to purchase the property. And basically when the mortgage and what they're looking at is the monthly payment. So how much are they paying per month? They say, oh, I can afford 1,000 a month. I can afford 2,000 a month. And that's what they're paying for. So what dictates a monthly payment? And basically it's interest rates and mortgage rates, which are correlated. So if you buy a $300,000 house with a 30-year fixed at 3% mortgage rate, it's about $11.38 per month. If you buy the same house at 6%, it's actually $16.18 a month. Now that's a big difference for a family on a budget. The lower the monthly payments, the higher the demand, basically, because you're able to buy more house for the same price. There's a reason I use those numbers, the 3% and the 6%, because that's where we were pre-corona roughly, and that's where we are now. We're back to 6% levels. So my prediction for demand and for mortgage rates is going to be roughly where it's at. It's going to stagnate around the 6% for the rest of the year. So to summarize my thoughts for 2023, so I think supply is going to be flat. There's still going to be a shortage, inventory shortage. I think demand is going to stagnate as well, where it's going to be not as much as Corona times, 2019, but it's going to be better. So when you put those two factors together, I'm thinking prices are mostly going to be flat as to where they were at the end of 2022, going into 2023. Not really up much, definitely not up, not down much, maybe 5-10% max. But I don't believe it's going to be any crazy things like some of these economists have predicted, where it's going to be a 20-30% market crash. Another thing to note is that real estate is very local. So it's per market. So a market like Austin, Texas is getting hammered and they've already seen a huge price reduction. And then markets like myself, which are smaller like Gainesville, it's flattened out a little bit, but it's still pretty good. What I do know is I'm going to continue to do flips into 2023. It has gotten a little bit easier to find deals, so I've been taking advantage of that. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. My name is Victor. I teach real estate beginners how to start and earn 6 figures fix and flipping houses. If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.